with no apology. You is a white Roman betting shop, man. I mean, it's a PG tits first thing in the morning cup of tea kind of brother. So everything not cool? Run title. If I don't have my tea, everything crashing a brethren. Greetings one and all, this is Lloyd Brown and welcome social media family to Lloyd Brown Music, where today I'm bringing you the news that I've just set up a business that I want to fail. Yeah, I want it to fail. But hear me out. This is the reason why I want it to fail. Anyone who knows me on a professional musical level will know that I have recorded quite a few albums, and within those albums I've made and recorded cover versions and lickover rhythms. Cover versions of songs that you might not hear on a regular, but those cover versions mean something to me, and the lickover rhythms mean something to me in my growing up and appreciation of the music that I was surrounded with. Now, for me personally, you can only do so much of that for a period of time before it just gets to the point where you're just literally on a hamster wheel and on a conveyor belt. I give props to the producers of the era of Studio One, Treasure Isle, all of those iconic labels and companies, you know, Joe Gibbs and Channel One and too many to mention. I consider it my duty to give and pay homage to those pioneers, those groundbreaking producers and studios of the day. But it's got to a point now where it's like, enough is enough now. Even from a modern day, latter day perspective. Ed Sheeran, for example, right? When he recorded, I forgot what the tune is called again. There was a slew of artists that decided to record their cover versions of that song. And straight away I'm thinking, but hold on a second. Ed Sheeran don't really need the help. You know, he's already earned a gazillion freaking dollars from the sale of that tune. I'm not saying it's not a good tune, but we got good tunes of our own. But I don't see Ed Sheeran covering them. You know what I'm saying? That's the point I'm trying to make. But anyway, I'm digressing. I've reached the point now where I just do not want to do any cover versions, sing on rhythms that's re-licked. I just don't want to do that anymore. However, in my journey of music that I'm making, with the Untitled album, you know that I'm going in a different direction. There's going to be a chorus of people that is going to be defiant and say, you know what? Yes, we're still doing the lickovers, regardless what you have to say. And I get that. I fully respect that. You want to pay your homage, you pay your homage. It's all good. But for me, if that is what you want to do, I'm going to create a service that will accelerate the process even more. For a nominal fee, that is. So I've set up the Reggae Lickover services, where for a fee of 130 Great British pounds, you can get a recording, a production of the said lickover, the final mix, and the stems including, all in 24-bit WAV files for your delectation and delight, to do with as you wish. Now, why do you want this business to fail, Lloyd? Well, it's simply this. I think now, being in the era that we're in, and I'm not even talking about a musical era, I'm just talking about the era of COVID, the era of lockdown. There's been an upsurge in the take-up of facilities and resources to aid music production. I've seen so many music producers, budding music producers on YouTube, trying to hone their skills and sharpen their skills and what have you. And the sad thing is that their insecurities are basically taken advantage of by unscrupulous companies and what have you. That's the dark side of it. But the lighter side of it is that, you know, there are some budding producers out there that's really, really doing good things. They're creating really good, inspiring, new music, not lickovers. And I already made my mind up that I was going to basically go in a different direction with the Untitled album. I've not walked away from reggae completely, but I don't think I'm the only person that's got that mindset, because if you look at people like Protege, Chronix and Kibaka and Janine and all those solid roots artists, you know what I'm saying? They're going in their own direction. And I'm loving that. That kind of confirmed where my head was at anyway. And linking up with Justin, and George more or less kind of firmed up the roadmap ahead for me. That was my journey more or less confirmed. I really want it to fail because I want to try and encourage or full encourage people to get into a whole different frame of mind where being in this era, in this COVID era, and having resources, music production resources available to us, there's no excuse. You know, you can actually go on the net and get yourself a digital audio workstation. You can get free plugins. You can get tutorials on how to basically produce your music and what have you for free, for absolutely nothing. To get all of that and to be re-licking over, let's just say, the party time rhythm, to me, it just doesn't make any sense, because this era of COVID is forcing change. Because I firmly believe that once certain restrictions have subsided, there's going to be a lot of change. You know, there has to be a lot of change. There has to be a lot of change just in relation to the soul searching that people have been doing. You know, the levels of loss that people's been feeling. You know, the taking stock of oneself in their chosen field and profession, not just music, but in life in general. You know, your vocation in general. So there has to be some kind of a change. So with that is something that I've definitely felt. I definitely felt that from my Earthstrong last year. I felt the need to bring about some kind of change. I've always had it in me while I was making my 17th, 18th, 19th and 20th album, right up to the 26th album today. I'm kind of reaching out in suggesting and in the hope that you are somewhat inspired enough by what I'm doing to feel free in what you want to do. Because just building a Lickover rhythm track to kind of fit in what's going on in this so-called reggae, I can't even call it a fraternity. I can't even call it an industry. I can't even call it a collective. You know why? Because man's doing them things on their ends. Woman's doing their thing on their ends. Joe Blow's doing his thing on his end. You know what I mean? There's no collective. Everyone's just doing what they're doing in a splintered fashion. There's nothing wrong with that, but like in the song, it is what it is. If there's not going to be any kind of togetherness, and I'm talking about a togetherness that's going to bring about a change in us having an industry, which we do not have, then an element of change has to come from somewhere. And I'm not suggesting to anyone that they got to change what they're basically doing. People's got to do what they got to do. But I'm talking from my perspective, where I'm saying right about now, I need to effect change from where I'm sitting. And I know it might seem kind of weird for me to promote a service that's going to be providing the very same thing that I'm kind of not so much fighting against, but I don't really have no interest in from a personal perspective. But if there's people that wants to utilize that service in having a reggae Lickover track recreated to a fashion with some degree, a modicum of professionalism, although I don't like isms per se, but you know what I'm saying, I will do that, because guess what? It's a revenue stream that, you know, that one needs to have in their situation, because right now with COVID, no live shows are basically going on. Record sales are just record sales. Publishing is publishing, and it does what it basically does. But for me, you know, I've set up things like buy me a coffee and also other things just to get the revenue coming in. And this is something that I need to really put over to the viewers right about now. Any income that I make from my music, it goes back into my music, whether it be plugins, equipment to further enhance the content that I'm basically providing, it all goes back into there. When it comes to council tax and rent and food and bills and this and that, I got to pay for those utilities with funds that I've basically got kind of sitting, just doing what it's got to do in the meantime. But in doing that, I'm going to be frying dumplings for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just kind of finding ways in just basically, you know, bringing in extra revenue. But in respect of the reggae Lickover thing, I really want it to fail. Now, I know you're asking, well, why are you even taking the effort in putting up something that you don't even want to be a success? But like I said, there's going to be people that might totally disagree with what I'm saying. So who am I to be throwing a spanner in their progress? And if they want a service of someone licking over a reggae tune, who am I to say no? It's not something I'm banning, because reggae is the bedrock of my very being as an artist, as a musician, as a producer, as a vocalist, as a songwriter, and as a content creator. So I'm not going to be banning that. But at the same time, it's just my desire for just a new wave of inspiration and expression and musicality to emanate from this territory, being the UK. Now people can look at me and think, well, who you think you are? You ain't talking for me. Don't talk for me, Regin. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. But like I said, it's my opinion, and that's all it is just my opinion. So hence the reason why I set up my reggae lickover services to fail. And with that, I hope you understand the reasoning behind it. If you don't understand it and you want me to build some rhythms, that's fine. It's cool. It's cool. If you don't, it's good same way. My direction is already basically set. I can't speak for no one else. So with that, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. As always, it's a pleasure. Always a pleasure, never a chore. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for putting up with an old fart drinking his cup of Rosie Lee in the morning. Let's drink it while it's hot, baby. I can't drink cold tea much longer. Thank you guys for stopping by. I want to thank all the new subscribers that has been following all of my social media feeds of late. I want to thank you guys for taking the time and making the effort, because you didn't have to do it. You could have done so many things in your wonderful lives right about now, and you chose to link up with me. So I'm extremely grateful and thankful for that. So with that, I'm going to bid you adieu. And as always, you don't know the coup. People, please abstain from all kind of foolishness. And until we link up in the next exciting installment of Lloyd Brown Music, people, I'm out of here. Maganski, laters.
Abstain from foolishness.